Okay. So, if you see observe this electron and hole current components here. Y axis tells you the magnitude of current, x axis is distance, xn and xp they are the new distance, new parameters. Xn starts from edge of a depletion region. This is dotted line shows an edge of a depletion region, and this thick line is nothing but distance along okay, from the edge of depletion region. Earlier we have denoted this edge of depletion region as xn naught towards n side, and towards p side we have shown as minus xp naught. Now, the same minus xp naught point has now becomes a 0 for this new dimension xp. Xp starts from minus xp naught and all the way it increases like this. Okay, though it is positive here in this uh, distance represents here positive. Earlier we have shown taken as a negative when it comes to minus xp naught and plus xn naught. And look at this current here. This is you are observing here various notations like IP of xp, INF xp on p side. Okay, this from here onwards this is completely represents p side, and this region represents n side, okay, or n type semiconductor. Okay, on p side if you observe there are two current components here, IP of xp, IN of xp. IP means it is again whole current as a function of distance xp, which starts from edge of a depletion region. As you move towards deeper, you can see that IP of xp keeps increasing. Okay, when you move towards xp, and if you start moving from xp to all the way to 0, you can observe here the whole current keeps decreasing. Because the holes here get attracted to the to the n side. So, diffusion of charge carriers takes place here, therefore, it reduces when it comes to the near depletion region here. On other side, you can see that minority carriers here, current which is IN of xp. This is electron current as a function of distance. It is high at the edge of a depletion region, and as you move deeper to the p side, so it keeps decreasing here. Okay, this current is basically very small current here. Okay. Usually minority current flow takes place due to the drift, okay, due to the electric field in the depletion region. On other side you see converse here. So, you can see that the electron current IN of xn as a IN as a function of xn, which keeps increasing as you move deeper into the n region, and whole current IP of xn keeps decreasing as you move deeper into the n region here. As the whole current decreases exponentially with the distance, the electron current must increase, so that total current remains constant and vice versa. So, net current on neutral n region, neutral p region remains constant here. Minority carrier current predominantly near the junction is mostly diffusion, okay, but the majority carrier current away from the junction is mostly due to the drift mechanism here. Okay, so, this interpretation we have seen already. If anything is missed, you can remind me this energy band interpretation of reverse bias, avalanche breakdown mechanism. We talked about this breakdown voltage and its variation as per the doping. Okay, so, y x axis represents the doping and y axis is a breakdown voltage, and we have seen that as doping increases, the breakdown voltage keeps decreasing. And another way, if you look at as a different materials, germanium, which has got lower band gap, that has got lower breakdown voltage compared to silicon here. Okay. So, silicon has got higher band gap. Okay. That is a thing, and let us move on. This I told you to fill up these things depending on the formulas that we have used. You observe built-in potential, depletion width, its relation with doping, area, material, saturation current, avalanche breakdown, Zener voltage breakdown, these things you observe formulas that we have discussed. Based on that, you have to mention here whether built-in potential, okay, whether if you increase the doping area, whether it increases built-in potential or not. So, that you need to mention in this box here. You can just indicate with an arrow mark here. So, suppose if a doping increases, what is its effect on the built-in potential, that can be shown with two arrow marks. One arrow mark corresponds to this built-in potential, and other arrow mark corresponds to the doping of a semiconductor. Okay. In that way you can fill up all these regions. Go through the formulas here. This I was talking about, diode is a non-linear device. You can model diode using linear circuit elements such as resistors, okay, resistor, capacitors and inductors. You can use these elements and you can model the diode, okay, PN junction, okay. So, this is symbolic representation of a diode. So, diode can be modeled using variety of the elements which you are seeing now here. So, this is simple model is with a ideal diode as you are seeing here. Here when the voltage across diode is 0 and negative, negative not 0, negative, that means diode current through the diode is 0, and when the voltage is 0 and the positive, okay, the infinite amount of current flows here. So, these are the 3 approximations, including this, there are other 2 approximations what you are seeing. So, this is first one is more simple and it is less accurate kind of the approximation. This acts like this shows that a diode is a one-way device. Okay, it conducts current in the forward direction, that in forward bias, and does not conduct current in the reverse direction. If you observe actual characteristics and this ideal diode model, that totally they are deviated. Okay, if you want to match this actual characteristics of a PN junction, you need to add few more elements to this along with the ideal diode, so that this characteristics resembles the actual diode characteristics here. Actual diode characteristics, you can see the exponential current flows in the forward bias once the threshold is crossed 0.7 for silicon, and constant current, okay, called as reverse saturation current or generation current, okay, which flows during in the reverse bias condition until the breakdown occurs. Okay, so now to make it this characteristics more accurate to the actual characteristics, we have added here the voltage source labeled as E naught in series with the ideal diode. Now, this adding this, the characteristics just changes. This complete curve now shifts towards right side till the point E naught. So, now you can see this V voltage, applied voltage, if it is less than E naught, 0 current flows through this model, and when V becomes greater than E naught, the current maximum current flows through the this model. Okay. So, this is the characteristics here. Even though it looks like the actual characteristics, but certain parameters are missing even here. So, this is much better than the ideal diode model, but here we have an ideal diode with an offset voltage. E naught is called as offset voltage. Okay, so, this represents in actual diode as barrier potential, contact barrier potential. So, that we have taken as E naught here. Okay. So, but here the one missing thing is this PN junction, PN diode has got resistance, neutral N layer and neutral P layer offers resistance, that is not shown in this model here. Now, to add that resistance, neutral N layer resistance, neutral P region resistance of a diode, we add resistor, physical resistor in the model, you can see here. By inclusion of this resistor, you will have a slope in this vertical straight line. Okay, straight line indicates that there is a voltage is fixed and current is large current is flowing. But now we have a slope here. So, this shows that whenever V is more than E naught, so then you will have a linearity in the characteristics. Okay, so there is some slope here. Slope is given by dV by di. So, that is nothing but represents a resistance here. Okay. So, this is the more approximate, more accurate model compared to the first one simple model, but this does not even you are seeing slope here, but the actual characteristics you can see that there is an exponential current flow in the forward bias here. That is again we need to add few more elements here, then you can model this characteristics similar to the actual diode characteristics here. It takes a lot of time to identify what element you need to add here to match to the exact characteristics here, but researchers keep doing their work by adding and removing elements and try to match the model characteristics with the actual characteristics. This kind of experiments will be keep on going here. So, but here in our syllabus point of view, this is the last and more accurate and very less simple kind of model. each one represents here a significance. Diode, ideal diode that we are using here, acts like a one way device, conducts current in the forward direction, blocks current in the reverse direction. So, whenever we have this, you can imagine the first model characteristics, and the moment we add E naught, we can remember the second model characteristics, and we have all three elements together. Then you can see that we have diode conducting diode in one direction, and there is a barrier potential, and there is a slope in the forward characteristics. So, all together yields this kind of accurate characteristics here. Still, this is a few more elements you need to add to match to the actual diode characteristics. Okay. So, that is about modeling diode using linear elements, though this physical or actual characteristics of p-n junction is non-linear in nature. So, this is non-linear characteristics. Okay. So, curve is not linear when we plot I versus V graph. Okay. So, next we will look at this half wave diode as half wave rectifier. Rectifier is a circuit that converts AC alternating current into direct current. So, half wave voltage rectifier, in our syllabus we just discuss only half wave voltage rectifier to show that the one application of a p-n junction. So, rectifier converts a sine wave positive or negative. Sine wave means it keeps oscillating between the positive and negative cycle. There are a lot more things to learn about sine wave, but here we are treating this sine wave like an AC alternating current waveform. If you see this the AC voltage at your homes, you get similar waveforms if you observe through the oscilloscope. Okay, but frequency is 50 hertz and 220 volts. Okay, so that is the AC frequency and AC voltage that you get it. But certain applications like the mobile phones or iPhones or laptops or televisions, small applications, so that demands the DC voltage, constant voltage with reference to time. But this AC voltage which is available, that should be converted into the DC. So, that conversion, one such circuit, what you are seeing is an half wave rectifier. Okay. It converts only the negative, it suppresses negative cycle and it only retains positive half cycle. So, there is diode current flows only during the positive half cycle here. And here there is a circuit here, this is half wave rectifier circuit. You can see there is a voltage source, AC voltage source, and that is fed into the diode here. So, whenever the positive cycle comes here, diode conducts because it becomes forward bias, current flows through this resistor. Okay, so, the positive half cycles are passed here. So, since current flows through the resistor, if you observe voltage across this resistor, it gives you the positive half cycle like this, and there is a drop in the output voltage. It may not pass exactly Vs what you are seeing in the output. There is minus 0.7 volt. Okay, so, that is output is decreased by minus 0.7 volt due to the voltage drop across diode. At this place you can imagine this ideal model that we have discussed, ideal diode and E naught barrier potential that you can assume here. That means, once it exceeds this E naught, then only the device starts conducting. Okay, so, Vs should be greater than V naught. So, that means there is a diode drop also should be considered. So, output will be less by 0.7 volt. But negative half cycle during this input negative half cycle output, there is no current in the output through the resistor. So, the negative half cycles are suppressed here. So, you do not see negative half cycle in the output here. You see only the positive half cycle in the output here. This is only the pulsating the DC. It is not perfect DC what you are expecting, perfect straight line. Parallel to this resistor, if you use a capacitor, then circuit becomes the filter circuit. There are variety of filters exist, capacitor filter, and in such case whenever there is absence of this charge source, the capacitor here provides sources this resistor, and you will get a constant voltage even though negative cycle is suppressed. This positive peaks will be retained when you use capacitor parallel to this resistor here. Okay, so that is a capacitor and rectifier followed by a filter. Okay. So, next third part of your AC to DC conversion is which is regulator. Okay. So, Zener diode can be used as a voltage regulator. Regulator is again, it makes, the perfect DC. So, input is going to be the AC voltage and DC voltage is going to be the output. This is the circuit what you are seeing as a Zener diode as a regulator. So, this is symbol of a Zener diode. You can see Z symbol at the instead of having a straight line as a barrier, you will see the Z symbol here. So, this represents the Zener diode symbol here. So, the output is parallel to this, we are measuring across this Zener diode. Now, across output the Zener voltage is maintained here. So, whenever the voltage here becomes less, so the Zener voltage is maintained here. So, this acts like it regulates the output voltage here. Probably if you are using devices like laptop or the iPhone, when you are charging, you don't expect output to fall even though the input source the may see ups and downs. Okay, in such case you need to have a Zener diode as a voltage regulator here. What is the function of this Zener diode? So, Zener diode, if you look at characteristics, okay, so the forward characteristics is almost same as normal PN junction characteristics. So, it current flows in exponential manner, but in reverse characteristics if you observe, this is a specially designed diode which operates under, which should be operated in the reverse bias. Whenever there is a breakdown occurs here, the Zener across it, it maintains a constant voltage of minus 15 volts. So, you need to identify the breakdown voltage. That is one of the important specification of the Zener diode, breakdown voltage. So, you need to identify, depending on the breakdown voltage, different types of Zener diodes are available. So, for instance, let me assume that this Zener diode has got a breakdown voltage of minus 15. So, that means if reverse voltage exceeds minus 15, large current will surge through this. Okay. So, then current is, you can see that large current surges through this, and but voltage across device is maintained constant here, though current variation is very large from few microamperes to several hundreds of microamperes current may flow, but voltage across Zener diode is maintained constant here. So, in order to have a constant voltage at the output, we will use Zener diode here. Okay. So, this is the characteristics that the Zener diode exhibits, but normal diode may not withstand for continuously reverse biasing. So, it may it may get burnout if you operate continuously under the reverse bias. So, therefore, you must use a specially designed diode like Zener diode to operate under reverse condition, because these diodes are heavily doped and they can withstand large reverse voltage, minus 15, minus 20, minus 100. So, depending on the breakdown voltage. All right. So, now you can see that how you get this perfect DC, even though there are variations in the plus or minus 2 volts, you can see the variation in this AC voltage. This is a waveform. What you are seeing is after rectified and filtered using capacitor. This is the output of the filtered rectified and filtered output here. Now, let us see this how this diode works here. Diode acts as a short circuit if voltage goes over the Zener voltage. That means, if Vs exceeds the Zener voltage, okay, let me consider Zener voltage as Vz across this. When Vs exceeds that, so this acts like a short circuit here. So, this becomes on and this acts like a short circuit. So, whenever there is a short circuit, you can see that majority of current flows through this. Okay, so, output again it is maintained same as this Vs only here. So, the output voltage is maintained constant, which is same as Vs. Now, you can see that when an voltage in open circuit, that means if Vs becomes less than the Zener diode, the circuit becomes open. So, open circuit, if the voltage it is less than or equal to Zener voltage, in such case the voltage across this will be maintained as output here. So, that means either the output will be Vs or it will be the Vz here. So, depending on the circumstance here. Okay, so, that is how this circuit functions. Okay, so, depending on the AC input voltage, so it maintains constant voltage at the output. So, Zener voltage, or if it exceeds, it maintains this Vs. Okay, continuous it is short here, so therefore it maintains Vs at the output here. Okay. So, this is how the circuit functions, and you get output as a constant DC voltage as you are seeing in this. I think with that we have completed almost this chapter, and if you have any questions you can take up, we will take up here, and there is one problem which I would like to illustrate. Before that, any questions are there? All right, if you let us move to the uh, problem. So, usually in examination you may have you may get it problems of this sort. Let us start. There is a number of problems exist in the textbook, just kindly go through that. Okay, so this is a problem. Boron is implanted into an n-type silicon sample. Nd is nothing but diffusion. This is a donor ion concentration, not diffusion. It's a donor concentration is 10 to the power of 16 per cubic centimeter, forming an abrupt junction of a square section with an area of 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 centimeter square. Assume that acceptor concentration in the p-type region is Na equals 4 into 10 to the power of 18 per cubic centimeter. You need to calculate built-in potential Xn naught, depletion edge on N side, Xp naught, depletion edge towards P side, Q plus and E naught for this junction at equilibrium, which is 300 Kelvin. And you need to sketch electric field Efx as a function of distance, and you need to plot even charge density to a scale. Okay, so now this write down all given data here. One is ND is given and the area is given, A, capital A, area for cross section is given. This is the value 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 per, this is centimeter square, and Na is given. The temperature is given 27 degrees Celsius, or in Kelvin it is 300 Kelvin. Now let us try to find out this V naught. So this is directly the formula based problem. So V naught formula, we know that kT by Q ln of Na Nd by Ni square. This kT by Q value directly you can take it, its value is 0.0259 volts or 25.9 millivolts is the value of kT by Q. You can also obtain this value by substituting each of these values, K, Boltzmann constant, temperature, charge, electron charge, which is 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. It gives you the same value 0.0259. Ln here is nothing but log to the base E, and here you can substitute this Na Nd. Na is given as 10 to the power of 4 into 10 to the power of 18. Nd is 10 to the power of 16. So, you can just exponentials you can add here, and you can retain 4 as it is. 16 plus 18 becomes 34, 10 to the power of 34, and 4 is multiplied here divided by Ni square. So, most of the times Ni may not be given, so you should know the value of Ni. Any idea how do you get Ni? Ni in module 1 we have discussed about the intrinsic concentration. Okay, so you just remember that value. So it's 1.15 into 10 to the power of 10. So that's the value. So its square becomes the 2.25 into 10 to the power of 20. If you simplify that, it gives you 0.85 volts. So V naught value, we know that we can easily predict this value cannot exceed 1 volt. This is a contact potential or built-in potential. It should be less than, since it is a silicon sample, it will be in the range of 0.7 to 0.85 range. So once a built-in potential is calculated, then you can go for depletion width W. We can use this formula. This we have discussed many times in earlier classes. We can use this formula to calculate the width here, substitute all these values. So you will get 0.334 micrometer, that is the width of the depletion region. Then you can use Xn naught formula to calculate edge of a depletion region on N side, which is 0.333 micrometer. Xp naught is 8.3 angstrom, or 8.3 into 10 to the power of minus 4 micrometer. So once you know Xn naught, Xp naught, you can calculate even Q plus, which is a charge, okay, on the N side, okay, which is also equal to minus Q minus on the P side. The formula is Q A Xn naught into Nd. You can use any one, either on the P side or the N side. You can use these formulas, though we have discussed two different versions of this formula. So the value is going to be 1.07 into 10 to the power of minus 10 coulomb, and you can calculate the electric field also at the middle of a junction. This is the maximum electric field. If you substitute all these values, you get minus 5.1 into 10 to the power of 4 volts per centimeter here. So now you can plot all this. It is expecting, this problem expects, E of x and charge density graph. Charge density graph we have shown already. It is a step waveform, negative on the p side and positive on the n side. The area under this, positive pulse and negative pulse are same, but you have to know, you should know the value of, the maximum positive value here. This is q into ND here. So ND value is going to be 10 to the power of 16. So 10 to the power of 16 into q, that's going to be the positive value. And here we have a q into Na, minus q into Na. So minus q as it is, Na is given as 4 into 10 to the power of 18. That's the most negative value. And x-axis is a distance which is in micrometer. Okay. So you can see here the n naught is going to be 0.33. Somewhere you get here 0.33. Suppose if this is going to be the 0.2, this will be the 0.33. Xp naught is very small, so that's why this is going to be very narrow here. Okay, Xp naught is 8.3 into 10 to the power of minus 4 micrometer. So entire x-axis we have taken as in micrometer, therefore this distance is very small. Okay. So next, below that you can draw the electric field as a function of distance. This graph should be drawn according to this scale. You cannot draw randomly. We know that the electric field is a inverse triangle. Okay, you can see that it decreases and field will be maximum here, and it goes to the positive, and it touches the x-axis here. Okay, it increases. Okay, the field, electric field increases. So when as you move towards the positive x direction. So the maximum electric field we already know, which is minus 5.1 into 10 to the power of 4 volts per centimeter. That is the maximum value, and it ends at this xn naught. Xn naught is 0.33 micrometer, which is same as this distance here. So now we have shown both the charge density graph, which is rho of x as a function of distance, electric field graph E of x as a function of distance. So these two curves are drawn according to scaling. That's what it is asked in the problem here. Okay, I think with that we have solved one problem. There are a couple of problems from the textbook also. I look forward, students, you guys to solve more number of problems, from the textbook as well. Don't depend on one or two problems, of this sort. You should solve many problems from the textbook also. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay. So with that, let me take one more problem if possible. Let me cover up. There's one more problem. This problem we have solved already. I don't want to go to this again. You remember earlier we have solved this problem. Just to recollect, the things what we have done earlier. And here you can see that this is just a theoretical problem which you can solve by just understanding the things. Assume that doping concentration Na on the p side of an abrupt junction is same as Nd. Okay, Na is same as Nd, that is the doping concentration on the n side. Each side has a long diffusion length. Find the expression for the whole current Ip in the p material. So this is very straightforward. You can use diode current here. In of xp, this is we have derived in earlier classes. You can just look into that equation. Okay, so the Ip of xp, they are asking you the whole current here, Ip. So you can see here, observe here. So once you know In of xp, total current is known. You can use this Ip of xp as I minus In of xp. So you can substitute here, and common things like qv by kt can be taken out, q into a. Remaining terms are kept as it is. Further, you can do some simplification here by assuming these things here. Okay, if you make it this equal, this equation can be further simplified, or else you can leave it at this point itself. This represents the whole current as a function of distance. Next is a silicon PN junction with a cross sectional area is given as A into 0.001 centimeter square is formed with Na equals this 10 to the power of 15 per centimeter cube. Nd is 10 to the power of 17 per centimeter cube. Calculate contact potential, space charge, space charge width at equilibrium, and current with a forward bias of 0.5 volts. Assume that the current is diffusion dominated. So diffusion dominated means it is forward bias. Okay, so assume that mu n is 1500 centimeter square per volt second, mu p is 450 centimeter per centimeter square per volt second, tau and tau p. Okay, so these are the time, diffusion times, which is for electron and holes 2.5 millisecond, which carries most of the current. So electrons or holes, here they are asking a question here, which carries most of the current, electrons or holes, and why, it is asked here. So definitely it is an electron which carries most of the current here. So you can see the type of material. Okay, you will get to know that little later. Whether it's N material or P material, depending on that you can tell whether electron or holes are carrying most of the current. And further they asked here, if you want to double the electron current, what you should do. So you should give an explanation here what one must do if you need to double the current here. This problem looks like lengthy, but it is a very simple problem which you can solve here. First of all, write down the given data and use relevant formulas like contact potential formula and space charge width W formula and forward current formula, current using in the forward bias formulas. So if you use those, you can easily solve this. Let us see solution for this. For the given PN junction, calculate built-in potential with 0 bias, space charge width and a current for 0.5 volts forward bias. So this is the contact potential formula, Kt by Q. Just now we have seen that. Substitute all these values, you will get V naught as 0.7 volts. Total depletion width, this formula can be used. Substitute all the values of Na, Nd, V naught, epsilon, and remember epsilon value, it is epsilon naught into epsilon r. Silicon epsilon r must be used, which is 11.8. Sometimes these values, if it is not given in the examination, you must remember this value. Relative permittivity, this epsilon what you are seeing, it is a product of epsilon naught into epsilon r. So therefore epsilon naught value is 8.854 into 10 to the power of minus 14 per centimeter. So that should be multiplied with epsilon r 11.8. Substitute all other values. So you will get width as 0.96 microns or 9.6 into 10 to the power of minus 5 centimeter. Next you need to find out the forward current, forward bias current here. So for that you can use this diode current equation. You need to know all these values here. So for example, here mu n, mu p is given, tau is given, and tau n is given, Ni is value must be known 1.5 into 10 to the power of 10. This is for silicon. I told you to remember this value. Okay. So this value is very important. Sometimes they may not give you for intrinsic value for intrinsic concentration for the silicon. So just remember this value. So dn in terms of this is called Einstein relation. So dn diffusion constant for electron relation with mobility mu n, Kt by Q value we know that 0.0259 volts, and mu n is given. Just calculate this value dn. dP value also can be calculated similar lines, 11.7 per centimeter square per volts per second, and Ln can be calculated using this formula Lp, and finally you can substitute in the current density equation that we have discussed. The value of Jn naught is found to be 4.5 into 10 to the power of minus 12 coulomb per centimeter square. Now you need to find out the current here, that can be multiplied with the area and this formula. If you do that, you get current as 2.2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 ampere or 2.2 milliampere. That's the current here. So if you look at the ask me what is the type of semiconductor, since most of the current is carried by electrons, because Na is less than Nd. So therefore when Nd is going to be greater, what type of semiconductor it is? It's N type semiconductor. Okay, so that's just which current is electrons is the majority carrying current. So therefore they are asked here the electrons are holes. So since in this case Nd is greater than Na, therefore electron current is the majority current here. So they have asked again here how to double the current here. To double the electron current, you should halve the acceptor doping here. So if you reduce this Na by 2, so then definitely the current electron current can be doubled here. Okay. Last problem here, in a P plus N junction, the N doping Nd is doubled. How do the following change? If everything else remains unchanged, indicate only increase or decrease. Though I have provided solution here, So, you should use relevant formulas, to give explanation for this. So, ND is doubled. ND means it is a donor concentration is doubled. Rest all thing is maintained constant. Okay. Uh, in a P plus N junction. Okay. What happens to the junction capacitance? Obviously, junction capacitance it keeps increasing. Okay. So, how? Okay. What is the explanation one can give here? Okay. Anybody has an idea here? The problem here says the type of p-n junction is P plus N. The N doping ND is doubled, and junction capacitance we are saying when the ND is doubled, the answer is junction capacitance increases. My question is how this junction capacitance increases. You know the capacitance formula, right? Capacitance is equal to epsilon into A by distance between them, distance between the plates. So, obviously, the distance between them keeps decrease, and the junction capacitance keeps increasing. And with reference to built-in potential, okay, so you can see that when ND is doubled, this just now we have seen the formula. So, this is the formula, yeah. So, ND is doubled, so this becomes twice. So, obviously, this built-in potential also keeps increase. Okay, so that is what we said here, built-in potential keeps increasing. What about breakdown voltage? VBR, just now we have seen VBR. We have seen the graph, you remember that this graph, we have shown you the graph, as doping keeps increasing, built-in potential, look at this graph. So, as doping keeps increasing, the breakdown voltage keeps decreasing, right. So, based on that you can say that the breakdown voltage as doping ND keeps increasing, the breakdown voltage keeps decreasing, and ohmic losses also keeps decreasing here. Okay. So, ohmic losses is nothing but IR drop across the neutral N region and neutral P region, that also keeps decreasing, okay, because of doping, okay, because of ND doubled here. I think with that we have completed almost every part of this the chapter, in module 2 chapter, all the first chapter of module 2. Next, it is a time to take up, discuss, give a hint about optoelectronics. Okay. Any questions so far? Okay, all right. Okay, so let me move on to the optoelectronics. Okay, this is the next second chapter of same module, optoelectronics. Okay, look at this optoelectronics, very interesting field, optoelectronics. What do you mean by optoelectronics? Any idea about this? Optoelectronic devices. Nowadays, you see plenty of optoelectronic devices. Can you name few optoelectronic devices? Anybody? Any idea you do have about optoelectronic devices?
LEDs, photodiodes.
Photodiode, okay. LEDs, light emitting diodes. Any other devices? You know that fiber optic communication, right? Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, Vana. Yeah, yeah.
LDRs,
LDR, okay. In general, what do we
optical
mean?
fiber.
Optic fibers, yes, yes. In general, optoelectronic device is one of the important area of electronics, which deals with the photons and its interaction with electronic devices. You look at the semiconductors and its behavior, so it changes depending on the impact of the photons. Okay, so photons are nothing but it is the smallest discrete amount or quantum of electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so this is a photon is very smallest discrete amount, smallest particle, I can say that. Okay, so it's you can call this, you can think of this photon as a quantum of electromagnetic radiation. Okay, so that's the photon, because the photon contains the small packets of energy called as the photons, and that's called the basic unit of light also. The amount of light or intensity of light can be measured with number of photons which are emitted. More photons if they are injected, then the intensity of the light is going to be very, very high. Okay. And in light energy, these are always photons will be in motion. Okay. So, the photons are moving at the rate of 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. This is the speed at which photons keep moving. Okay. So, if you look at the semiconductors and its relation with the photons, whenever the photons are made to light energy is made to fall on the n type semiconductor, what is going to happen in a semiconductor? You have seen energy band diagram of n type and p type semiconductors, right? Just have a look at that energy band diagram of p type and n type semiconductor. Look at this. I will take up this. Suppose if you make light to fall on this the semiconductor, what happens here on this?
Electrons jump into the conduction.
Yes, exactly. Electron, they jump into the conduction band, right? Now you are supplying some external source of energy to move, to decrease or increase the barrier. Now that role is taken by this photons. Okay. So whenever the photons are made to fall on this n type or p type semiconductor, so this can be thought of like the conduction band, and this is the upper one is the conduction band which contains lot of empty states, and the lower one is going to be the valence band. What is this gap here? What we have called this gap between conduction band and the valence band, whether it is a n type or p type, this gap is called as forbidden gap.
Forbidden energy.
Yes. Now if you apply photon energy,
So,
yeah,
ma'am already joined, sir. I'm sorry.
yeah, wait 1 minute, I will kind of wind up. Okay. Okay, so this photon energy, this the amount of photons that you need to apply is should be equal to this band gap energy. So in such case, the electrons from the lower valence band, it keeps moving to the conduction band. Conduction band has lot of empty states here. Same mechanism occurs even in the p type semiconductor also. The outcome is you will see lot of electrons in the conduction band, and they readily start the moving, they become mobile electrons, and current starts flowing. So this is the some basic details about optoelectronic. Next class I will talk about photodetectors, photodiodes, photodetectors, light emitting diodes, with some mathematical the aspect of this optoelectronic devices. Thank you all, and let me continue the class the next tomorrow. Okay.
Thanks.